to the Gransberry Chronicles Weekly Pick'em AFC Predictions Show. Say, guys, last week we didn't have a chance to get to the AFC predictions for division wins, but we wanted to make sure we did that before going into the regular season. So the guys are all still here. It's Coach Pat on my left and D Jones on the right. And we're going to get started real quick because we're not going to keep you too long, because if we do, Brandon going to go wrong. So let's start out with AFC North. That's right. Let's see how Lamar says they haven't figured him out. Mayfield wants to keep it going, making himself pretty much the steadiest quarterback they done had in a while in Cleveland. We got OB back. So let's see if the Browns gonna Brown, if Lamar gonna Lamar, if the Steelers gonna roll. And I'm ready for you guys' predictions, including my boy D Jones gonna check him out a Steelers game this year. So we're gonna kick it off with you and let you tell us, who do you have winning the AFC North?
The AFC North is definitely the AFC's best division. This is going to be a tough division, of course, outside of Cincinnati, who I still expect to improve this year, but they will be at the bottom of the division.
I didn't even mention
the other three. I got you. The other three, man, I think it's really going to be a toss-up. I think all three of these other teams make the playoffs, but the division winner, I'm going to roll with Cleveland. I'm going to go with Cleveland to win the division this year.
Okay.
I think it's going to be tight. I mean, last year Pittsburgh had 12 wins. The Ravens and the Browns both had 11. I think it's going to probably look very similar this year between those three. But I'm going to go with Cleveland. What you say, Coach?
Baltimore. I mean, it's not easy. It's not cut and dry. I mean, those three teams are straight up, I just think the experience of Baltimore is going to be there. You don't know whether or not Big Ben is going to have a defense behind that offense, or the offense actually showing up for some games in the clutch. And then Cleveland, it's Cleveland. I mean, I don't know. I mean, I think they've progressed. I think they're going to make the playoffs, but I just don't see them winning the division at this point. So I think I'm going with Baltimore in this case, with Lamar, healthy Lamar, and they have their identity straight.
But if they're going to progress, the only progression for them to make is to win the division. I mean, you won 11 games last year. They made the playoffs last year.
Right.
I think they won a playoff game last year.
Oh,
right? So the only way to move forward would be to win the division.
Well, correct. But, I mean, I think Baltimore will win the division. Cleveland might get second. And the Steelers are always the consistent team. But I think these three teams, you're correct, are all going to make the playoffs. But as far as division goes, I'm going with Baltimore.
All right,
yes, I know it's easy. I know it's the easy.
You don't have to fight about the order there. You picked all three to actually make the playoffs. D Jones, do you see it the same way, Coach, or you just think Lamar and Cleveland will head to the playoffs? Do you see the Steelers still making the playoffs?
Yes, I see all three of them making the playoffs. Correct.
Okay, so with that in mind, let's go out to the AFC West, which we're not really going to discuss who's going to win the division, but who do you think will come in second place? Because I can't see anyone picking against the Chiefs at this point, or Andy Reid for that matter. So we're not going to have that false discussion. And if you're offended, Raiders, I don't care. And, if you're offended, get over it. LA Chargers, you got a new stadium, but that's about it. You got a nice quarterback, but that's about it. And so I've seen your stadium. It's amazing, but it will not make you win more games. So with that in mind, who do you think will win second place, Coach?
Second place? Man, it's tough. Chargers.
It's hard to even remember who's in the division at this
Right. So you're right.
And you know what? We were so happy, earlier for Bridgewater. I'm happy for him. I'm happy, but I think he gets his wins against the LA Chargers and maybe
and the Raiders.
but
Yeah, so
and
I'm
now we
going.
do know that they lose sometimes a division game. The Chiefs do lose
They do.
a division game, which sticks to the golden rule of Derek. Division games are tough, but we're talking
Correct.
about winning it, not winning a game against the Chiefs.
Okay, and now that you put it in that context, I'll go ahead and put. I'm gonna still go with the Chargers in second place.
Okay.
Because I can see the Chargers getting a game against the Chiefs and even the Raiders per se. The Denver game is gonna be tough. I mean, the Chiefs are become battle tested because of their division, but they're gonna win the division. It's just a foregone conclusion.
I like Teddy B and the Broncos, man. I think Teddy's gonna shock a lot of people with his consistent play, his steady hand, and his leadership. And I think the Broncos defense was solid. So I think if they can get their running game and they got some studs at receiver, I could see the Broncos coming in second.
Okay. Who knew that a participation award in second could create such a great discussion? But I'm here for it, Bridgewater. Bridge on over to second, but that's about it. Sorry.
Bridge on over to
second.
But let's move all the way over to the East and let's talk about the AFC East. Since Brady's departure, he's made an opportunity for that other team in New York, Buffalo's, to have an opportunity to win the division. We saw some little sparks down in Miami, but Miami is not for the sparks unless it's the nightlife. So we don't know if Tua's going forward. He's going to remain the same. We really don't know. So with that in mind, we don't even have to have a huge discussion about the Jets. We see what they did to Sam. They shipped him off. So I don't know. I'm not saying the Jets won't eventually get the play they need, right? They got a great draft pick. What I'm saying is, who do you think will win the division? I'm still going with that place where we're traveling to for my final stadium at this point. It's Buffalo's division to lose, even though I wasn't even in this discussion and I vowed not to even pick. But I wanted to just go ahead and help you out and lead the discussion. Coach Pat, are you with me or you're not?
I'm with you on Buffalo. Miami second.
Coach, one more question about that. So you have Miami second. Do you think that the Jets will be in last or third?
They're gonna be last.
Last?
But it ain't gonna be last like me though. How about that? How about that? Yeah.
Not consistently last, because you're gonna be in last place.
Not so fast.
Look, you
not
are
so fast, my friend.
You got an insurance commercial now? Anyway,
I agree with y'all, man. It's Buffalo's division to lose. Look out for the Patriots. Look out. But it's Buffalo's division.
Look out for what? Second place? You think they probably can get more wins than Miami? Because see, it's not even about Cam. So I can see them getting more wins than Miami, just because I can see Cam being consistent enough. He's back under the program. If he can get the COVID protocols under control and don't have to miss so much time, I think that works for him. Because he really had the oddest of the year last year during COVID with them. When with the game, the one that was affected most by that.
The biggest thing, though, outside of that, is remember most of their defensive starters
I was just getting ready
opted out last year.
So as a team, they had the most COVID effect as well. That's a very, very good point. But I do think that also plays into a different disadvantage this year. Buffalo's coming back playing together as a more in sync team, and so it's not really a slight to Cam or Belichick. It's more so the consistency of Buffalo to be in a position to say it's their division to lose. But I could see the Patriots being a steady second in that division. And of course, we have to admit, we are not saving the best division for the last, but we're saving our, hopes for the last. And so that's the AFC South. And I'm talking softly because I'm not saying my hopes that the Houston Texans will win the division, but that we definitely win more games than what's predicted. So, guys, we know that the Titans have had the most consistency in the last couple of years. The Colts keep having this quarterback, that quarterback. They've had about some quarterback misery for a minute. And then we got the rookie out in Jacksonville. So, with that in mind, would you say it's the Titans division to lose at this point? Or do you see something different coming out of left field with Jacksonville as they had in the year that they recently went to the AFC Championship? D. Jones?
Definitely not going to happen for Jacksonville. They'll be at the bottom of the division. Again, it's crazy how the division works. The Texans have Jacksonville number. The Texans have the Titans number. The Titans have the Colts number. So it's kind of weird, and the Colts kind of have the Texans. So it's kind of weird how that kind of works. Last year, you had the Titans and the Colts both finish 11-5, but the Titans won the division. I think it is the Titans division to win again, just because they have the most consistent team that's returning. Everybody else have some major changes. The Texans have major changes all the way around.
Right.
Not just an offense.
Right. Even if we didn't have the QB change at the moment, we still have had significant changes at our wide receiver positions and on our defensive side. And
the majority of the defense is
and the coaching staff
and the whole building. The whole building is changed except for one person. One person that shouldn't be there, but we're not gonna talk about that. But yeah, so I think just because of their consistency, and then when you had that dude over there, that monster number 2, Julio. So yeah, it's their division to lose.
Coach.
I completely forgot about Julio going to the Titans. I really did. So yes, the Titans, it's the Titans division to win. And like you said, we don't know what's going on with Indy. Can you trust Carson Wentz? Which one you gonna get? Of course, you got a rookie quarterback with Jacksonville, and then you got the Texans. It's actually a wild card in it as far as what team are you going to see. I mean, Tennessee had a lot of their close games against the Texans, against the Colts, but they had, Derrick Henry to run out the clock, and then you got both Julio, and then you got Brown, 2 wide receivers out there. So the play action game is going to be good for Tennessee this year. So, and then they got an OC change. So I'm interested to see how that's going to all play out as well. But like you said, the Titans are going to win the division. The Colts and Texans are battling it out for second, third, and then Jacksonville is just going to be looking up at the sky.
Looking up at the sky. Well, while we looking up the sky, why don't you look up Yahoo Sports Fantasy Pick'ems for the Gransberry Chronicle team and put the password GPick'em34 and join us and see if I can, beat you a couple of times, and maybe we can help Coach Pat not come in last, because it surely won't be me. But even with that, we want you to play along with us this season, because we have some gifts. We want to invite some people on to talk about their picks and how they see the season going. I'm actually looking forward to it. I'm looking forward to some good football. I do think that, the fandom of it all, I understand we're still in the midst of COVID, but, with that, we are more open to these sporting events. And so with that, fans do make a difference. And so I'm waiting to see that change. I'm waiting to see, it's always exciting to see that guy get his first touchdown in the NFL in a regular season game, that, that first Hail Mary play, just all of the different things that can happen in just week 1. And so with that in mind, we want to thank you for joining us and listening to our picks. And Coach Pat is going to tell everyone where they can find him, because we know he loves entanglements, being late, and in last place.
Well, unlike the Gransberry, I'm gonna be on time. I'll be at Twitter and Instagram, Coach B Pat. Hit me up.
I bet you will get hit up. And D Jones.
You can find me on Instagram at DJones9804, on Twitter, that boy D Jones. Get at me.
And on all platforms, I'm the Gransberry. That's Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. Also TikTok. And if you want to follow my sports TikToks, you can follow that at Grand Sports Travel. And as always, and everybody knows, we'll catch you next time.